Hello, my name is Gary Goodworth. I am the webmaster of anunseenworld.com. This week we're going to talk about the red horse of the apocalypse. And this comes from Revelation chapter 6, verses 3 and 4. And when he had opened the second seal, he being Jesus Christ, I heard the second beast say, "Come and see." And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. The futuristic point of view of this particular passage believes, that we talked about the white horse last week, that the white horse is being the Antichrist. When the Antichrist rises to power on a peace platform, it will be a false peace. And there's a passage in Second Thessalonians that says, when they say peace and safety, sudden destruction shall come upon them. So it may be that people think, one viewpoint of this is that the Antichrist comes to power on a peace platform, but it's a false peace. And the end result of that false peace is war. Now, if you look at this passage from a eternal perspective, Jesus does not exist in time and space. He exists outside of time and space. And the entire book of the Bible, from his point of view, is finished and completed. And he knows the end from the beginning. Now look at this passage when it says, give him, and power is given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another. Well, that brings up the question, when has the earth ever had peace? I think there's a total of 268 years in all of human history where there was not some kind of conflict somewhere worldwide. But there were conflicts before the book of Revelation was written. The book of Revelation is written in AD 95. It seems more logical that this is probably a reference to the coming tribulation period, where it begins with a false peace, a peace that the world has never known before. And when the rise of the Antichrist happens, he's going to say, I'll bring peace to the earth. And people will believe it and trust it. And there'll be a time where there will be some peace. But it's not going to last. There is another viewpoint of the red horse of Revelation. Last week I talked about that some believe that the white horse of the four horsemen of the apocalypse may represent a system instead of a person. And I see some validity to that argument, but not fully convinced by it either. But the people who believe that the white horse may represent a system also believes the red horse may represent a system, or a system of belief worldwide. The people that believe the white horse represents Catholicism, which has an influence over the world to a great extent. So their logic is, what system is red and has a great influence over much of the world? And the answer to that question is communism or socialism. And if you look at the beginning of history with socialism and communism, with China and Russia, those systems are responsible for much bloodshed and peace being taken from the earth. So there is some validity to that viewpoint. And it could be that the red horse could have a double application. That happens sometimes in prophecy. maybe have a near application, then a far application, or a double application. I've seen that with other passages. That's why I'm going through all the viewpoints. I lean towards the red, because the Antichrist does rise to power on a peace platform, but he honors the God of forces, which is Satan. I can see that applying that, but I can also see how this could be applied to the world system called communism and socialism. But communism, socialism hasn't been the cause of all wars in history. So there's not really a lot to say about the red horse because there's not much to this passage. It's just a couple of verses long. But it is Jesus Christ who opens the seal that releases the red horse. In Zechariah chapter 6, there's a red horse and a white horse and a black horse and a grizzled horse that all are released. And then there are four spirits that go out into the earth to do what God has them to do. So there may be some connection there to Zechariah chapter 6. But since Jesus opens these seals, and if you study Revelation chapters 1 through 5, the church is no longer present after chapter 5. It's like the church is no longer around. The church is not even mentioned until chapter 19 when they're returning to earth with Christ to set up a kingdom. So this is probably a reference to the coming Antichrist kingdom. I see things falling into place that seems to enable the fulfillment of what the Revelation talks about. Now, some people don't want to study Revelation because they think it's hard to understand. I saw someone quote a person who said, Revelation is not hard to understand. It's hard to believe. But the chapter 1 admonishes us, those who read and study the book of Revelation will be blessed. This is the only book in the Bible that's promised a blessing to those who will read and study it. And I said all I can say about the red horse this time. Next week we'll talk about the black horse. So thank you for being with me, and you have a good day, and may God bless.